Hello, ShopTalkers. You like that name I gave you, huh? You are ShopTalkers because you're listening to the Career Woman's Secret Playbook podcast, and I'm your host, Dr. Dawn, CEO and founder of Dr. Dawn Shop Talk. Now, today's episode is a little personal. I'm going to talk about an emotion that if you're not careful, it sneaks in. And no, I'm not talking about fear or even self-doubt. I'm talking about guilt, specifically the kind of guilt that just creeps in when everything's going really well. That guilt literally tells you, how dare you feel great about your accomplishments when someone you love dearly never could. Now, all of this may sound a little cray-cray. I understand, but I know this one, unfortunately, all too well, because I'm living it. So I want you to come back and join me because I love my audience enough to want to talk about it all right here on the Career Woman's Secret Playbook podcast.
Are you a strong, independent woman who's passionate about her career? Then this podcast is perfect for you. Based on her book, The Career Woman's Secret Playbook, career coach Dr. Dawn Hamby shares the kind of insider secrets you can only know if you've hired, fired, and promoted employees over the past 30 years. Here's today's episode.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Career Woman's Secret Playbook podcast. I'm so excited you decided to join us today, that you decided to come back for this personal story about guilt. Because if you're with me today, if you're listening or watching us on YouTube, then you too suffer from guilt. Don't we all, seriously, as career women, suffer with this in greater numbers? You guys, there's a lot of brain research as to why we torture ourselves, ladies, but more about that in another episode. I'm going to share a personal story that I'm hoping is going to inspire you to put the 3 action steps I've got for you today in place right away. And I'm even going to invite you on a personal transformation journey. More about that in a second, but let me start with my story. So many of you know, if you've been listening for a while, that we recently lost my mom. This January is going to be 2 years. It seems like just the other day. But this is how guilt ended up manifesting in my personal life and how it caused me to go back on a goal that I had achieved that meant so much to me. So if you've watched any of our health and wellness videos on the YouTube channel, then you know that I shared my personal journey of how I finally got control of my health. I had been one of those ladies that you probably wouldn't have liked because for most of my life, I had been in great shape. I was one of those that could eat whatever she wanted because I was so active. Now, you guys, my knees are paying for all of this now. In fact, I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a minute, but I was the kind of person who, again, could eat whatever because I was on the swim team. I was on the tennis team. I ran marathons. I played volleyball. I love to dance. I love my jazzercisers. If you're listening, jazzy gals out there, love you. I love Zumba, step aerobics, you name it. There was not a workout that I did not love. I loved that feeling of feeling athletic. I loved just the energy it gave me. I'm already high energy, so can you imagine me after exercise? My loved ones have to put up with it, I know. But it made it so easy for me to eat whatever I wanted. I didn't have to worry about it. Well, that came to a screeching halt when I turned 40. Now, I knew hormones. For most of us ladies, once you hit 40 and beyond, hormones can play a part. So I am under a doctor's care. I did get that checked out. I am going to actually go back because I know there have been some recent changes, but my 40s, it wasn't the hormones. I already had that checked out and I was on medication for that and continue to be on medication for that. So I was so frustrated that all of a sudden, very gradually, over maybe 3 or 4 years, I had gained 31 pounds. Now, your girl is 5'1" on a good day, maybe 5'2" with the high heels that she loves to wear. You guys are never taking me out of my heels. I don't care that I have 2 bad knees, okay? I'm that person clutching onto the railing, going down to the steps, and my husband keeps saying, Dawn, just get out of these high heels. I'm like, never. I am never getting out of my high heels, people. It's part of who I am. I love to dress up. It's just me. Okay. So just deal with it. It's just the way it is. But in any case, you guys, gaining that much weight really affected me. I've always been a confident person, not in a snobby way, but I had a great family. My family always made me feel like I wasn't the problem, everybody else was. In other words, if you didn't love me and think I was fabulous, there was obviously something wrong with you. Okay. Yeah. My family suffers from the opposite problem of confidence. We're those people that do not believe for a second that we're not enough. That's not us. In fact, we're a little too much. Seriously, guys, our family is that family. Okay. But in any case, when the weight crept on, it's not that I didn't have the confidence to feel that I had a lot of value still. My value wasn't completely tied up in my looks, not at all. But I would be lying to you if I said that 30 pounds on someone who's 5'1" doesn't make a difference in my energy and just the way I feel in my clothes. So it was actually my daughter who encouraged me to start this health and wellness section on my YouTube channel. And I said, but honey, I'm a business coach. I'm a business consultant. Why would I be talking about that? Well, I have disclaimers. I'm going to remind the audience that I'm not a medical doctor. I'm a PhD times two. I actually have a double doctorate. That's how much your girl loves research and education. So I have the ability to do a lot of research, a lot of reading. I do consult with medical doctors. I'm a surgeon's daughter, so I get it. I'm going to consult with the experts before ever trying something. So on that part of my YouTube channel, I tell you about intermittent fasting and longer fasts, and that really worked for me. So I was able to get the weight off and keep it off for years. Most of those videos, in fact, the last year of those videos on my health and wellness channel were filmed while I was facing my mom's illness. So I was able to take something tragic like my mom's suffering, and the way I was coping was not stress eating. So because my mom, I knew, wanted so much for her legacy to be that she didn't pass down her struggles with her weight, I actually, during the height of her illness, in fact, I was working so hard on getting my control back on my health and feeling like myself again. If you gain 30 pounds and you're as short as I am, it really does affect your clothing size. I went from a size 4 to a size 12, sometimes a 14. It was really a dramatic change for me. And again, I'd be lying if I said I'm going to be as confident because that just wasn't me. If you're a size 14 and you feel beautiful, I applaud you. It just wasn't me because I'd been physically fit for so long and it just didn't feel like myself. I was not a healthy 14. Okay. My doctors can tell you it was not healthy for me. For me, my age, my, fat to muscle ratio. I have a very high BMI, in fact. So I've always weighed higher on the scale than what my clothing size said. I could be 120, 130 pounds and be anywhere from a size 2 to a size 4. Back in the height of my marathon days, I was a 0. That was not healthy for me. I lost all my curves, and I don't feel like myself if I lose all my curves. I'm not trying to be a skeleton. I'm really not, okay? But I say all that because a way that I coped with my mom's illness was not through guilt, ironically. I felt inspired to be healthy, like on her behalf, to do things she couldn't do. But then when I lost her, and were we expecting the loss? Yes, of course. When someone has Alzheimer's and has suffered 3 strokes, and that last one was so debilitating, you guys, that she never walked again. She was in a wheelchair. She couldn't take care of herself, all of these horrible things that she never would have wanted. But we were able to keep her at home. My whole family pitched in. We had amazing nurses. Ladies, if you're listening, oh my gosh, if you're in the nursing field and you help take care of someone, either at home or in a nursing home, I just want to send you all the love in the world. What you do is being a guardian angel on earth. I promise you, you really are. And if you don't get those thanks, because it can be a thankless job, especially with Alzheimer's, where oftentimes it manifests itself with anger and you don't want help. And you many times take it out on those nurses and your loved ones. So if you guys are listening out there, you guys, I love you. miss you guys. We need to get back in touch. But in any case, they were a real godsend to us. They really were. So ironically, you would have thought I would have had no trouble when she passed, continuing this legacy and knowing that she'd be cheering me on, not just for my health, but for my business. My mom was a business owner and she was so proud of my public speaking. She always wanted to travel with me and go with me and hear me speak. And she got to hear me speak once or twice, but not to the level of what I do now. And before her passing, she felt good enough to actually come to my retirement party. I had left my organization after 31 years of service to the beautiful state of Arkansas, where I got to do so many amazing things. And one of those amazing things was being responsible for huge departments and programs and supervising employees. And so, she was so proud of that. Well, over the years, I had started my company on the side. I knew I wanted to do more coaching. I had just written my book. I knew I wanted to start a podcast, and I knew I couldn't do all of that and give the state the attention it really deserved. So after 31 years, I was like, okay, I'm ready to start my own business full time. And I took that leap of faith. I gave up the security of that full-time job and kind of took that leap of faith, that step into the darkness. But it wasn't darkness because I came up with a plan, just like I always advise you guys to do on the podcast. You don't have to take huge steps without a plan. Do I want you to set audacious, bold goals and bet on yourself? Absolutely. Betting on yourself is never wrong. Never forget that. I say this all the time. I tell this to clients all the time. To have that faith in yourself and your ability to be better and do better. You can do this. So if one day you want to start your own company, that's great, but don't step out there without a plan. So I help my clients develop those plans so they can thrive in the workplace. And if that eventually means that when they retire, they want to start their own business, or maybe they don't want to wait that long, we can talk about that too. I can show you exactly what I did. But the point is, if you've got guilt that you know is weighing you down, and mine literally did, I started to self-sabotage my success. And I knew better. I knew better, and I had a plan on how not to do that. You can hear all about that on those videos on YouTube. So I'll, again, be sure to link any of the videos I'm referencing, you guys. I'm always going to link those for you in the show notes. I'll also include that in the description box on YouTube. So remember, our podcast comes out on Mondays. YouTube, it's usually going to show up on Thursdays. So check that out. Mondays and Thursdays are when we're doing all of our content and when we release our content. So again, check that out. But in any case, you guys, here was the blessing. Here's a miracle. Here's how you celebrate a big win, even when you're disappointed in yourself and even when you're disappointed in your results. I knew, not only because I write about this, you guys, and because I coach about this, but I knew this for a fact because it showed up. That's right. For the first time since I turned 40, I did not gain all the weight back and then some. You might remember me telling you in previous YouTube videos on that health and wellness playlist that unlike other people who might just gain back 5, 10, or 15 pounds, I am an overachiever. So I would gain back 30 pounds. And that's how come I had 31 pounds to lose. So unlike the last time, you guys, I'm going to celebrate the fact that I did not gain all the weight back and then some. That is traditionally what I did to myself. And ladies, those of you who may have struggled like me, you know, that's kind of the norm. So for the first time in many years, you guys, I'm 58 now. So in 18 years, for once, I didn't gain it all back. I gained back about half. And in fact, I wanted to ask you to consider joining me on my transformation journey. I talked about that a little earlier. Yes, I'm already filming videos to explain this story in a little bit more detail. It's a little emotional, so I'm going to warn you. If you cry easily, you may not want to see one or two of these videos because, yes, there may be a tear or two shed, but it happens. I'm an emotional person. I'm passionate, and it's okay to cry. Maybe not at work. Okay, we need to work on that. If you're crying at work, see me. I can talk you through this. We're going to figure that out, okay? And if you do cry at work once in a while, it's fine. It's fine. It's okay. You're going to be okay. I promise you. I've had clients who've done the same thing and they have lived to tell the tale. So you guys, I celebrate the win. I celebrate the fact that I gained about half of it. And I celebrate that I have the tools. I know exactly what to do. And if this is how I needed to cope with my stress and with my mom's loss, I'm okay with that because the size of my clothing, the number on the scale, that does not equate my value. Never did, never will. And I know perhaps that message may have gotten lost as I shared with you how disappointed I felt. I felt disappointed because I knew it wasn't healthy for me. My doctor said so. I felt disappointed because I know that when I achieve a goal, it's long lasting. I'm in the business, for goodness sakes, of setting goals and achieving them. So it really made me feel guilty in so many different ways, not just guilty because I was doing something for my physical body that my mom never could. But I also felt guilty because I'm in the business of setting goals and achieving them so that I can teach my clients how to do the same. So it was hard not to feel like a fraud. And I don't use that word lightly. I mean, I'm not really calling myself a fraud. It's just the way I felt. Again, sometimes feelings are not facts, right? I'm not in the business of weight loss. I'm not in the business of fitness. In fact, my daughter is launching a business along those lines because that girl definitely has all the qualifications. But for me, I can coach on that. I am actually certified to coach on that. But that's not the main passion that I have. I always want to lead with business consulting and coaching. That is where I thrive. I love everything about that part of the business, right? I love everything about that kind of coaching and those kinds of workshops. But I know that to be the best coach for my clients, I have to address the personal issues as well, because that is going to affect their work. That is going to affect how they show up at the office. That is going to affect their confidence. So it's all very much intertwined. That's why I'm so excited to share with you the 3 steps that I'm going to take right away, that I have been taking to get me back to where I want to be on a personal level. And I already know that sharing these tips are going to help you on a personal level and perhaps also on that professional one as well. I want that for you. I want you to feel that you're fulfilled in your career. I want you to feel that you can thrive at the office and at home. So these 3 tips I know are going to help you do just that. Before we get started, I want to talk about one other little pang of guilt that I had. The fact that my mom got so sick and the fact that she was her thinnest as a result of her illness. I wish she could have seen how beautiful she was. She was so beautiful whether she had the weight on or not. But you know what? She never thought that. My mom was 80 years old when she passed. And so unfortunately, she grew up in that time period of women being or expected to be very thin. Her curves were not appreciated. She did not grow up in the time of a, Kardashian where curves are more appreciated. There were no actresses or celebrities that were celebrated for their curves like they are today. So she felt ashamed of them and worked so hard to be thin. Well, for most of her life, especially after she had children, she never could get back there. So she never had the joy of actually losing the weight and keeping it off the way I did. And so the irony was that she was her thinnest because of her illness. She never got to see how thin she was. She never got to appreciate that she was the thinnest one in her family. And again, not that the scale should be our metric. In fact, most of the time it's not the best metric to use for your health, but that can be another episode. But the other irony is now there's all these medications out there that can help people not just lose weight, but it looks like those same medications are giving people a lot of other health benefits. So the irony is all that came out too late to save her. And not that she would have been saved from Alzheimer's, although there are now some studies suggesting that your weight and your health and fitness can possibly be related. Those studies are a little mixed, as they all are when it comes to science, right? But in any case, it could have helped her so much on her quality of life. So again, all of that explains this painful journey of guilt and why I just was no longer motivated to take my own advice and to do the things I knew helped me feel amazing. So now I believe that my mom's up there. She's my guardian angel along with my other wonderful loved ones, and she's cheering me on. She would have loved that my business is thriving. She would have loved, even though she got to come to my retirement party, she was still suffering a little bit from the illness. So she was happy for me, but not really herself. So again, more of that guilt now that I travel more and I do all these workshops and seminars, she would have loved to have come. So I'm now putting down that burden. Again, I invite you to join me on future YouTube videos where I'm going to share my transformation journey with you. And yeah, we're going to put the guilt down today, ladies. We are going to claim our power back. We're going to put these 3 tips in place. And because I love you guys so much, I even have a bonus tip for you. So I'm so excited. Let's get started on talking about the actual tips. Now that you know how guilt has plagued me and how your guilt might be plaguing you. Now, like I said earlier, you guys, your guilt may be showing up in different ways. It may not be weight gain, and it may not have anything to do with a personal loss, but your guilt may be holding you back in lots of other ways. For example, maybe you feel guilty because you make more money than your friends or your loved ones. Maybe you feel guilty because you just got this amazing promotion right at the same time that your best friend got laid off. Maybe you're feeling guilty because you have this amazing vacation to look forward to, and so many members of your team are stressed out, can't afford a vacation, and are working hard while you're gone enjoying yourself. Now, should you feel guilty about these things? Is it okay to make more money than your friends and loved ones? Of course. Is it okay to take a well-deserved vacation and maybe spend a little extra money on that, even though maybe your team is not in the same boat? Of course it is. The true simple fact is we shouldn't feel guilty, but we do. We have big hearts. We want to be kind. We want to give back. And sometimes that feeling in your gut just won't go away, especially when you really care about people. I mean, for goodness sakes, it would be hard to go celebrate that promotion when you know your best friend just got fired and is feeling so terrible about it. So again, ladies, we know it happens to us. If it's not happened to you yet, then again, these tips might be something for you to store away and think about so that you can face this challenge if and when it ever happens to you. So here's the great news. You've got the power to break free from this and all of it. So here we go with tip number 1. Here's what I'm doing. And again, I invite you to join me. Tip number 1 is to set bodacious, fabulous goals. That's right, ladies. If you're not excited about goal setting, yes, I help my clients do that. Yes, I can help you do this, but you don't even need to be my client right now because guess what? Listening to this podcast makes you my client. So here's what we do in coaching sessions. If you're struggling with achieving your goals, the true simple fact is you have not given it enough thought to get excited about. You have not crafted it in a way. You haven't set it in a way that excites you. You have to set a goal that keeps you up at night because you're so excited thinking about it, and it makes you want to get up first thing in the morning and work on it. If you have not crafted your goals in that way, you just have not set big enough goals, or your fear and guilt are both getting in the way of you believing you can achieve them. Just like Santa. Santa doesn't show up, people, unless you believe, right? So you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in your ability to achieve the goals and make them so exciting that there's just no way you're not going to give it 150%. Remember, when you commit to something, it really does mean, when you decide something, it really should mean anyway, that you're not going to stop until you achieve it. I bet you've done that in other areas of your life. If you're a parent, I bet you've done that for your kids. I bet you've stayed up all night if you needed to put that toy together. So when they wake up on Christmas Day, they know that Santa's helper, in other words, you, got it done, right? You wouldn't disappoint your children or your loved ones or your friends or your boss or your coworkers. So don't disappoint yourself. Get back in there, look at those goals again, and make them the most bold, big goals you can think of. You deserve to dream big. I've got videos about that. You deserve it, ladies. So start dreaming big and then give yourself the opportunity to make it come true. Okay, guys, so that's your first tip. In other words, your first step. Here's the second step, because it really is in this order. Step number 2 is, how do you do that? So now you've got these bodacious, amazing goals. What are you going to do now? Well, the second step is you have to have a concrete, very specific plan. So take those huge dreams and those huge goals. You've heard this before, I'm sure, breaking it down into bite-sized, manageable steps. You can do this, ladies. Okay? If you can't afford a coach to do this, use ChatGPT, something like that. You can use those free versions. They can at least get you started. Okay? You've got this. So set those goals. Number 1, step number 1, step number 2, you've got to devise a concrete step-by-step plan on how you're going to do that. So for me, for example, on my personal goals, I already know I'm going to do intermittent fasting. I stop eating at 8 p.m. I don't start eating again until 12 p.m. I'm going to drink anywhere from 64 ounces to 128 ounces of water every single day. I'm going to do 4 to 5 days of strength training every single week. I'm not giving up my walking, even though my knees are terrible. I just have to walk on a treadmill without an incline. And if I can, I walk every single day. I do stretching. I'm still eating a very healthy diet. Diet is 90%. That's what the experts say. And that's what worked for me last time. Do I still have my amazing handcrafted specialty cocktails, glasses of wine, chocolate mousse for dessert? Everything I want to eat? Well, of course I do, but it's going to have to fit within the 90-10 rule. So 90% of the time, I'm going to eat clean. If I can have one chocolate kiss or something, if I'm craving chocolate and it fits in with my clean eating plan, great. But again, 10% can be indulgent. 90% needs to be clean. That's just what works for me. 80-20 might be better for you, but for me, I need 90-10. And then when I'm in maintenance mode, I know exactly what to do. I can afford more of those treat meals, not a treat day. Let's not get that mixed up, at least not for me. My body wants to get right back up there, okay? So again, I'm going to use intermittent fasting, my healthy eating. I eat organically as often as I can and as often as my budget allows. I love a Mediterranean diet, so I'm going to eat a lot of protein, a lot of fiber, a lot of vegetables, but I'm still eating the bread, people. I'm still eating the pasta, just in smaller portions, because I know for myself that if I feel deprived, I'll have a food tantrum. That's the way it is. Because again, most of my life I got to eat whatever I wanted. And because my knees are not the way they need to be, and I'm trying to postpone surgery. The surgeon would like for me to try to postpone it. I'm a surgeon's daughter. I know surgery should be the last resort. So I'm using the ointment and the creams and the medication the doctor's given me. And I want to wait about a year to have the surgery. So again, my diet has got to be like amazing. I have to be a superstar in terms of how I eat, because I just won't be able to use exercise to keep the weight off. And you know what? Quite frankly, for me, that was a lot of exercise noise. I can get too fanatical. I really do. I go 90 to nothing. So when I do something, it's 150 gazillion percent. I don't know how to go on slow. And so I have to be real careful with that, because when it comes to fitness, I can get into it too much where I become obsessed with it. So being more in control of my diet is the way I'm going to do that. So again, I have my concrete plan. I've set these amazing goals, and I have all of these pictures in my head. I've even printed off pictures of the way I looked, which again was just 2 years ago. So I'm not trying to be anybody but me. I'm not trying to look like a supermodel. Okay, I'll never have the height for that. I just want to look and feel like I look and feel at my best. And so I know what that looks like. So I've got my workout plan with pictures all over it, and I'm just really excited. Now, again, this may not have anything to do with the goal you want to set. Maybe your goal is to get that promotion. Maybe your goal is financial freedom. And I'm going to be doing some episodes soon about that. Whatever the goal is, these tips and strategies, these steps, in fact, are going to help you. They really are. So I cannot wait for you to comment. Let me know a couple of things. Let me know if you want to take the transformation journey with me. If you do, again, comment below. Tell me what your goal is. We can support each other as we go through these steps, and report in, because I will be reporting in. After this video, I will be doing some follow-ups, and then you can let me know how you're doing on your goal setting. It's going to be so exciting. I cannot wait to read your comments, you guys. Okay. Last but not least, I want you to find step number 3, an accountability partner. You guys, we know this works. That's how come oftentimes in a program, whether it's coaching or personal training, whether it's a workplace program, maybe team building, we know having other people with you is successful. It is like success strategy 101. It really is. So find yourself an accountability partner. Could it be a personal trainer or a coach? Well, sure. But it also could be a sister, a brother, a friend. Make sure you have someone that you are checking in with. Support them each and every week. Like, for example, when I've done this, because all of my friends are so busy, my family's so busy. When I've done this in the past, I've usually done a check-in like once a month. But I know I've even used programs like Noom. They're not sponsoring this video, but if you want to, Noom, I love you. And I have mentioned you in other videos. But Noom has group coaching for that reason, right? So, you've got a nutritionist that's helping you, but then you have this group that's also checking in. So this is a powerful tool, you guys. I really encourage you to use it. And that way, when guilt tries to pull you back in, your accountability partner is going to remind you why you started. All right, you guys, because I love you, here's your bonus goal. Give yourself permission out loud. I'm not kidding. I mean it. I want you to say your goals out loud to yourself. I'm certainly doing that. We have international listeners, for goodness sake. So they're hearing that Dr. Dawn has packed on 15 pounds, people. She's not ashamed to mention this. She is saying it out loud into the world out there, okay, online. So say those goals out loud and tell yourself that you deserve to achieve it. Come up with a mantra, come up with a motto, come up with, again, something that excites you. Because if you don't, remember self-talk, we have episodes about that as well and videos. What you say to yourself and what you say to yourself consistently is what will happen. You get what you focus on. So if you're saying, oh, sure, I can do these 3 steps. Yeah, I got you. I got you, Dr. Dawn. Yeah, I'm dealing with guilt too, but I'm going to go ahead and work on step number 1 and 2. But, I don't really think I need step number 3. I don't really need an accountability partner. Well, you know what? You don't know what you need until you try all 3. I'm going to give you a little tough love here, ladies. Try all 3. Then, if it really doesn't work for you, then yeah, tweak it along the way. Absolutely. But still say your goals out loud and tell yourself that you are, in fact, betting on yourself that you can do this. And if you do, I promise you, it's going to give you the extra support you need. Even if there's a chance it could give you that extra support, why not bet on yourself in that way? So again, ladies, put these steps in practice. Use all 3 of those. Remember this bonus tip. And especially when it comes to that bonus tip, think about this. When you speak that permission into the air, in other words, when you out loud give yourself that permission, It's harder for that guilt to convince you otherwise. All right, Shop Talkers, like I said, you're invited to join me on this transformation journey. Don't forget to comment below. Let me know what goals you're going to work on. And I would love for you, the audience, to be part of my accountability team. I don't even need a partner. I've got you guys, right? No, I'll get a partner. I promise I'll work on that. I have some people in mind. But in any case, you guys, I would love for you to be part of my team of support because we're your team of support. Each and every wonderful, fabulous career woman and man. Yes, we have more male listeners. Thank you for your support, the men out there. But in any case, we are here for you. We are building an amazing community of support right here on the podcast, right here on YouTube, and where you find us on our socials. We're at Dr. Dawn Shop Talk. Don't forget to find us and follow us on our socials. We're not just on the podcast. And by the way, we're everywhere where you listen, but we're also, of course, on YouTube. So we've got the Dr. Dawn Shop Talk YouTube channel, and you can find us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. As we wrap up, I'll end with our motto that we say here to remind us all of the power we really do have each and every day. And our motto goes like this: if you're not having a fantastic day, you've got the power to make it one. All right, ladies, you have a fantastic rest of your Monday, a terrific week ahead. And don't forget, you've got this. I know our episode is over, but this is just the beginning. If you're ready to take action but don't know where to start, just head over to drdawnshoptalk.com for lots of free resources, ways to work together, and for even more. Subscribe to the Dr. Dawn Shop Talk YouTube channel. Remember, ladies, you don't have to take this journey alone. I've got you covered. Till next time.